You meet in a tavern, one of the most classic lines you could ever find in Dungeons & Dragons. If there's a story that just so happens to have people playing Dungeons & Dragons, it's either going to begin with a bunch of random fantasy jargon or this one line. The tavern meeting is a sacred and hallowed staple of Dungeons & Dragons. Many a party have gone on to great, sweeping adventures from their meeting in the tavern. Many a party have only ever done one session and technically never left the tavern. But regardless, it is considered the blueprint starting point for any Dungeons & Dragons one-shot or campaign. Herein lies the great question when it comes to the Dungeons & Dragons tavern, though. Is it really worth it? Obviously, I'm not the first to bring it up. There's been a long history of conversation surrounding other ways to start a campaign that do not involve you meet in a tavern. Now, there's a lot of good criticism for why this should be the case, right? Taverns aren't exactly an exciting place to begin. It usually involves meeting someone who's going to hire or give you a clue about the plot. So why bother with the clue? Why not just start in the plot? Taverns are often very basic. There's not a lot of work that goes into making one tavern feel distinct from another tavern, and if you have this whole sprawling fantasy world filled with unique ideas and creatures and characters and NPCs, wouldn't you want to begin your adventure there, getting a taste of it from the very beginning? And also, it's just been done so many times. All these points are very good, and they are necessary criticisms about how to start a game that is interesting and inviting and exciting. Almost nothing is worse than starting a new Dungeons & Dragons campaign and the DM goes, "You guys are in a tavern. Do something." You have no bearings for this. You have absolutely no idea what's going on. Sure, your character may be a 1,000-year-old elf wizard that's walked across the continent several times, but you got here half an hour ago. You're not even done opening your chips. Everyone makes awkward small talk, giving descriptions of their characters, maybe trying to give some clues about their personality, or if they're even brave, a little bit about their backstory. But a lot of it is just twiddling your thumbs, waiting for the DM to actually throw the actual plot in front of you. I started my first ever Dungeons & Dragons campaign in a tavern, and you know what? It sucked. It was boring. It didn't promote anything. They literally did just that. And then I had to have the quest giver NPC make his way over to their table and be like, "Hey, you guys look like you know how to kill things. Do you want to come kill things for me?" And they said yes. But dear viewer, I want to come to the defense of the humble tavern, and I want to talk a little bit about why I feel it doesn't necessarily deserve the reputation it gets as a boring campaign opener. I think it's simply that people aren't using taverns as taverns are meant to be. Now, obviously, one of the reasons why taverns are the go-to beginning for a campaign is because they are the beginning that most closely resembles the actual D&D table. D&D is where a bunch of friends come together and they sit around at a table, and sometimes there's drinks and snacks involved. And oh, hey, look at that! Taverns involve a bunch of people sitting down at a table, and usually there's drinks and snacks involved. It feels like it should be the most natural beginning. Everyone comes together, everyone sits down, everyone chats and gets to know each other, and then, now we can go on this grand adventure. But like we've already talked about a little bit here, taverns don't invite adventure most of the time. For the most part, for the rest of the game, a tavern is not going to be a place of excitement, of intrigue, of calls to adventure. It's going to be a place of rest, a place of calm, a place where things wind down, where a lot more jokes happen, where a lot more silliness happens, where people feel safe from all the wanton danger and destruction that plagues Dungeons & Dragons, unless DM has a sneaky assassin hiding in the corner. If you look at it that way, taverns are in many ways the opposite of an adventure. So obviously it would make sense to start your adventure in a different environment, a place that is filled with more excitement and invitation and call to adventure. A heist in the middle of a battle, a prison break, swept up into a revolution. Immediately when you are in one of these campaign intros, you know exactly what's going on, you know what you're going to do, you probably have an understanding of how your character is going to react to this. But here's the thing when it comes to these intros versus a tavern. These intros are playing to what their environment invites. A heist is high stakes and sneaky. A prison break is loud and chaotic. A battle is violent and terrifying. A revolution is fervorous and passionate. You wouldn't really take any of these campaign intros and be like, wait, pause, hold on. Everyone sit in a circle and explain who you are, because that goes against the energy of what this intro is trying to establish. And sure, taverns do have lower energy than those other campaign intros, but they still have an energy of their own. Because sure, taverns are places of rest and comfort. But taverns are also places of fun. When a tavern is the starting location of a campaign, I think people forget that taverns are an inherently social environment. This isn't just a place where your characters come to forget about their troubles and worries and find rest for the night. This is an establishment in a living, breathing world. And sure, if you start your campaign in a rinky-dink, middle-of-nowhere town, yeah, the tavern's not going to be bumping or filled with customers. But if that's the case, that's no different than having your heist campaign intro start with the party having to steal someone's pocket change. It doesn't play to the strength of the environment. And if you treat a tavern as a place that people want to be in, rather than as a place people are trying to leave so that they can go have their adventure, a lot of opportunities show up to highlight characters that go beyond just having them all sit at the same table. Taverns provide immediate opportunity for bards to perform, barbarians to boast, rogues to pickpocket, wizards to dazzle and delight with their magical cantrips. Taverns provide more than just chairs and tables to sit at. They provide food and drink, opportunities to socialize, games and activities. They are communal spaces. Often, another big problem with taverns as a starting point is that they're a place of business. They're where people come to get stuff, and your party doesn't want to spend their money there. Session 1, the party just rolled for how much gold they have. They probably don't have a lot, they're probably not comfortable sharing it yet, and they don't want to spend it on mundane and meager things like food and drink. So again, that's a barrier for interactivity with the tavern. It's at odds with what the party wants to do right now. Taverns, as a business, want people to spend money. The party, as new adventurers, want to keep their money. But again, here's the thing about taverns. They don't just have to be a place where you spend money, they can be a place where you make money. Games, boasting, wagers, contests, these are all things that naturally happen in the tavern, and your players can be invited to participate in that. Suddenly, they aren't all just sitting at one table in the tavern. Maybe they are all in the tavern for different reasons. They're participating in different activities. The bard is trying to get a gig. The barbarian just got paid. The rogue also knows that the barbarian just got paid and is trying to steal from them. There can be a high-stakes game happening. There can be one patron that boasts about being the AO champion of the tavern. And the DM can do little things to incentivize the party to participate in these games, right? They can say that the bard has received a couple of tips from their performance. They could say that a warlock is on a lucky streak. They can say that a patron at the bar has decided that they'll pay for the entry fee of the druid because he wants to see what the woodland boy's capable of. At worst, they're going to lose money that they didn't know they had. At best, they win more, and maybe it incentivizes that they work a little bit together to improve their odds. And this isn't advocating for like a return to form, that we must go back to our ancient roots of the tavern being the only way to start a campaign. That's ridiculous. Not all stories start the same. So, having a variety, a diverse range of different ways to begin a campaign is nothing but a benefit. But just because we've seen how good other options are for starting campaigns, it shouldn't retroactively make the tavern setting bad. What it does is invite us to sit back and look at, okay, why do these campaign intros feel exciting and fresh and active and new? And where is our old faithful tavern struggling to repeat? For me, it's that a lot of taverns aren't being used as taverns, they're being used as like bus stations. Oh, hey, what are you doing here? Oh, I'm headed this way. Oh, I'm also headed this way. Oh, okay, cool. They're never going to fit all campaigns and all parties, but that's fine, because they never fit all campaigns and all parties. Taverns are a very specific social environment that meet specific social needs and wants, in our world and in fantasy worlds. Treating taverns like a basic flavor that should be discarded or spiced up or swapped out for something new is valid because, truth be told, they've been played to death in many ways. But I truly don't think that's the tavern's fault. I think that's the fault of people using it as a hammer and treating every party as a nail. There's a lot of fun and excitement to be found in a tavern. There's a lot of low-stakes opportunity for characters to show off skills or quirks about their personality or knowledge about the world. But it has to come from the tavern being a place that people want to be in, which is what taverns should be. It shouldn't just be a place that feels boring and tired and run down and we want to leave. So, to sum up this video, right? Clearly, not every campaign needs to begin in a tavern. But if you are going to begin a game in a tavern, it should be because there is something to do there. Not outside, not after you talk to this one person. There is something to do in the tavern, and that's why we're here. Quick Dungeons and Dragons video for today. Let me know what you guys think about taverns in general, how you like to start campaigns, what is one of your favorite non-tavern ways to start a campaign. I'm gonna kill someone. I just kind of wanted to talk about taverns today, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one.